This is Real Talk Real Estate with Broker Jay. Today's topic, what you need to know to kickstart a real estate investing adventure. Fantastic guest on today, Josiah Wilson with 21 Real Estate. He's also a broker associate with eXp Realty. Josiah, I've known him for years. You have been the man when it comes to investing. And when we hear about real estate out in the world, we always hear about, make $1 million. Real estate's the best investment. You can make millions. This is what you need to do. With that said, that may be true, but there's some work that goes behind that. Give me an idea of just, is that a myth or is that something that people can accomplish?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. As far as the work involved, everybody's at a different place in their journey. So I'll preface it with that. With what I've had to go through with some of the mindset things that I dealt with, being raised in a certain way, you can't afford this, those kind of talks. I think my journey probably took me a little bit longer than many people are able to do. I've seen people within 2 years build, a blossom of a portfolio. I have a gentleman who's a friend of mine in one of my mastermind groups. In 5 years, he's at $70 million in assets. I'm not there. I'm much less than that, but my journey's different. He has an accounting background. He knows numbers. He knows the language of the banks. I didn't. I came from, we're not going to go eat at a nice restaurant and spend $100 for a family of, 7 because, we can't afford that. So it's work though. To come back to that, it is work. You have to put in the work. If you're not willing to take the actions and do what's necessary to get it done, like anything else in life, you have to have a goal. You have to have a why behind it. Otherwise, why not just chill out and watch Netflix?
I love it. And I hit you with that question because our folks who have tuned in, they want that question answered just to see if it's a possibility. With that said, 21 Real Estate, where did 21 come from outside of being the age you can drink?
So 21 is actually when I was first introduced to real estate. Everybody has their emails. Like I still have my old email, JJW13K. I still use it. When I was 13, I have an email, you pop it in, right? So for a lack of creativity, at the age of 21, I was introduced to real estate, and then clicked a pop-up banner, on dial-up internet, Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, well, what's that about? We're doing an evening class at the hotel. That was my introduction to real estate. Clicked on it, invited a buddy over, and 21 Real Estate was born.
I love it. So the steps, it's a learning process. From what I'm hearing, it's a learning process depending on where you're starting from, right? And, most folks feel maybe they need to get a real estate license to do this. Is that necessary, you think, or helpful?
So once again, my story, so 21 came from when I was 21. I didn't actually get into full-time real estate until 2016. That's when we were introduced. That's when we met, was 2016. Yep. And I got licensed at the same time. I was in a position where I was broke. My job and I mutually separated ways, right? For a nice term. We separated ways, had 3 weeks of vacation time. I had credit because we actually sold a condo, wiped out all my debt that I had. So I had great credit. And then I had to look at my resources. So for somebody new, what resources do you have? Do you have time? Do you have money? Do you have credit? There's 4 exchangeable: time, credit, money, and knowledge. Those are your 4 medians of exchange in the world of business. So look at your resources. I didn't have money. I had time. Didn't have the knowledge, but I had some credit. So I had some knowledge. I'll put it that way. I knew I had to listen to podcasts. I had done things. I did buy a condo in Colorado. Ended up selling that. Did very, very well because during the market crash of 07, 08, I saw that it was on sale. I was actually able to purchase a property on sale at the time, and that was my main one transaction. Sold that in 2015, and it clicked back on. I was like, man, real estate. It took me this long. I was working for the weekly paycheck, trying to pay off my debts that I had accumulated at my student loans, my credit card, the vehicle debts, all those things. And real estate wiped it out in one shot. So my mind went back to real estate. It's like, man, if that's the power of it, in one transaction, I was able to wipe off all this debt that I've been working for years, and I just couldn't seem to get ahead, then that needs to be my angle. I had just gotten promoted at the time, so when that condo actually sold, I was became a district manager for the company, and because I was working up the corporate ladder to get extra paychecks so I could continue to pay down my debt. That's where I was at, and then in one swoop, boom, done. So when I started, I did have credit, and part of my story, I actually went and got $55,000 worth of credit cards. I had them all lined up on my computer screen, and I said, submit, 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 submit. Like, give me all the credit I can get, because I knew that was my resource. Like, that was my plan B, right? Like, hey, I'm going to use credit cards to live off of. I'll use credit cards to fund something. I had time, so I was at Starbucks. I was there from 9 to 9, right? $2 at the time, $2.50. Got a cup of coffee, and as long as you stay in Starbucks, you get free refills. So
I mean,
I'd sit there and I'd be on my computer, dating myself, but searching Craigslist, like looking for the next opportunity. So as far as to answer your question, and I just, people need to hear some of the backstory. Do you need to be licensed as an agent? The answer is no. I personally got licensed as an agent because I was in a spot I need to feed my family. My daughter was 1 year old. She was newborn, didn't have a job, 3 weeks of vacation time, a 401k with a 20 grand in it, and 55k worth of credit cards. Like, there's my resources. Whichever one hits, I didn't care. Whether I make money as an agent, I get a paycheck. Whether I make money as an investor, I get a paycheck. My whole goal was I need to feed my family. So that's why I personally got licensed at the time.
wow, fantastic, fantastic. Do you think today is a little bit different than it was even when you started? I mean, technology has, and connectivity and the access to intel, I call it, or knowledge, is so much more accessible now than even it was back then. Uh, that's a big leg up for folks who are thinking about possibly entering into this super dynamic world of real estate investment.
I think to answer that, there's two aspects to it. It makes it so much easier, and there's so much knowledge that, yes, like if you're an action taker, you can go and make it happen a lot quicker. Part of that journey, part of the reason why I was stuck for so long was I didn't have the resources. I didn't know who to connect to. I didn't have the telephone number of or the be able to go message somebody on Facebook or Instagram or watch a YouTube video. That didn't exist. It was just in its infancy. So there's two aspects. One, yes, it makes it, the knowledge is there. The knowledge is easier, and it's great. The other aspect is there's such a flood of knowledge. It can also put you into a paralysis by analysis. You're
Good
like,
point.
oh, well,
Good
he
point.
said Airbnb, this person's making it in long-term rentals, midterm rentals, oh, commercial property, like the shiny objects. And which do I use? Do I use Propelio, PropStream, Privy? Like, for the investing world, what do I do? How do I get the data? You know, is Zillow good? Is Redfin good? Is Realtor good? Is Trulia good? Like, there's so many platforms that you can also get stuck. I don't know where to go because there's too much.
It makes a lot of sense. And you have kind of filled in the voids because now you have a mastermind group where you come and collaborate. You've established some of these other parameters that, again, people can utilize if they find you to help them springboard their investment career.
So I've started a coaching group, training group. We will have a deep mastermind that's in the works, something that God's dropped in my spirit for that. Previously, I just, you know, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, in essence. So now that we're taking some action steps and doing that, and now that I've been in real estate a longer time, I'm confident in the bigger mastermind level. But the initial trainings, the initial coachings that I'm doing, that's exactly it. I'm designed, and what me being stuck in the past, I want to help people cut through all this noise that's out there now. I want them to get to the action steps. I want them to get their first deal as soon as possible, instead of, because I've had people come to me multiple times. Hey, where do I get started? What do I do? There's all this information. What's my next step? So really to cut through that and say, hey, this is exactly what you need right now with your resources. Part of that mentorship or the coaching is that first initial one-on-one. And we're going to spend an hour deep dive, maybe a 2-hour deep dive into your personal life, where you're at, what your knowledge is, and what the exact next step is. I'm going to also mention this is, where do you want to be? Because not everybody wants to be at the same place. Not everybody has the same vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just the 12 houses so you can be, financially independent, right? Is it just to get to that $5,000 number where you're just paying your bills? Like some people, that's all they want. They just don't want to have to be tied down to the 9 to 5 or the 9 to 9, depending on what kind of position you're in. So what are your goals? We need to lay out that first, because without knowing what your goals are in the immediate, you don't have a roadmap to where you're going to get to. So that's a big portion of it is hey, let's take that deep dive first, and then let's lay out the roadmap, the GPS to get to your destination. And along the way, those goals change. They will. They'll adapt. They'll change. You're like, hey, I want to do 5 houses. I want to do 10 houses. Okay. You get to the 10, you're like, you know what? I actually like this. I don't want to just do 10 houses. Maybe I want to own some commercial now too. Maybe I want to, do 20 houses. Whatever that case is. Or you do single family long term, you realize you do one Airbnb and you're like, oh my goodness, this Airbnb thing is great. Like, let me sell those other ones or let me convert those, and maybe the Airbnb is where you want to go, because now that you're in it and you're taking action, you get to feel what's good, feel what's bad, have the pain points, have the pleasures, and direct you. Your goal will change after being years in it. Mine surely have.
And you're in it still because there's still gold to be mined. But if you're listening to the media and you're, listening to, what's happening with the interest rates and this and how dynamic and crazy our real estate market's been over the last 36 months, that can be a deterrent for some people who don't have full knowledge of what's going on. Are you seeing that as kind of defeating some folks trying to get in who just don't fully understand that it's so multifaceted? There's still things to do out there, money to be made, gold to be mined.
Absolutely. My take on this is maybe twofold. One, I don't watch news. I hear news. Like if it's important enough, it'll get to me. Found that out. I was sitting during one of the elections. I was sitting, at my broke stage, right? Sitting in McDonald's, using their Wi-Fi, having lunch, and they had the TV on right next to me, and they were both sides political stuff going on, and I felt internally sick. It wasn't the food, like spiritually, I felt sick because all the junk that was being just cast from the news felt physically sick, and I said, I have got to get away from here. I left immediately. And that's something that, so I hear it. If there's something, an important topic, I'll do a Google search and I'll try to figure out what's going on, but I don't listen to the news. Two, you create your own opportunity, right? So, you've heard this, you've most likely, there's no bad market. There's no good or bad market. There are only up and down markets.
I believe it. I preach it every day, but it's good hearing it from someone else besides myself.
There are only up and down markets, and you can make money in either of them. You just have to navigate the market. So there's gold to be mined. Real estate, a lot of some of the talk right now is, hey, everybody wants like the crystal ball. Hey, what's your predictions for real estate? I don't have any predictions. I don't have a crystal ball. I can give an opinion. My opinion is that the residential market currently has already dipped. We've already had our crash, and we're going to slowly continue going from here. We're going to see not a deep vertical, not a hockey stick curve. We're just going to have steady growth from here on out. Opportunity in commercial. Commercial is about to get hit. Loans are due. From last I heard, I think $3.1 trillion of loans are coming due in commercial. So commercial is about ready to be discounted. Right? This is when things get on sale. When the market's bad and there's fear, man, things are on sale. This is the market you want to buy. This is the market, even as a real estate agent, that you like. If you get in it now, this is where the tough times are. When the good times come, you'll be able to just cash in because you grit through the hard times. You're building that endurance. You're building that muscle. If you can make it as a realtor or as an investor right now, this is where the muscles are. You're putting in the reps, right? You're putting in the reps. You're lifting those bars. You're lifting those weights. Like if you can start now and push past all that fear, when the times are good, you're going to just be cashing checks. That's my opinion.
What do you understood? What do you seem? What seems to be the fear of most folks stepping in, putting their toe and testing the water out for the first time?
Just think it's a new place. It's outside your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a saying that one of my mentors says. He says, growth will only happen outside your comfort zone.
Indeed.
That's the only way you can grow. If you stay in comfort, that's it. You're just comfortable. Growth will not happen. You cannot build muscles by staying within your limits. So I think it's that. It's mindset. It's what we project. And some of it's just self-confidence. It could be something that happened in the past. It could be being told no so many times, right? That's something that I have to be careful with my children is like, we say no a lot, and you have to, in certain aspects, people you don't want to do business with, no, sorry, that deal's not for me. Yeah, you have to say that. But when you're saying no to yourself, it's self-defeating, right? It's self-defeating, and you can't allow that to. You have to free yourself up biblically. Some of the journey that I've been on is soul searching, but biblically, Jesus talks about coming like a child. Like my kids run up on me, they jump on me. There's no fear, right? They're just, hey, I'll ask for anything. Dad, can I have this? Dad, can I have that? They don't care. And they'll ask 5 times in a row. And even after you told them no 5 times, they'll continue to ask, right? Like even biblically, hey, ask and you shall receive. Keep asking, keep seeking, seek knocking, and you'll find, right? Those biblical principles have really tied in on that stuff, where it's something most people can tie it to something in the past, right? We're almost a computer program. We've been conditioned, right? We have free will, but we're a computer program. We're programmed for these things. So it's changing our habits, changing our way of thinking. Upgrading this is the biggest thing. And that's why it's like, hey, get that personal coach, whether it's me or somebody else. Get that one-on-one time, that mentorship, somebody who's walked that journey, so you can basically pay to skip the line. Kind of like you go to Disney and you can buy the fast passes, or you go to Six Flags, you can buy the quick queues, the fast passes. Like you're just putting money down so you can skip that line. Like that's what mentorship is.
Talking about mentorship, how can someone get a hold of you?
So you can find me Facebook, the Josiah Wilson, Instagram. Actually, all of them are my handle, the Josiah Wilson. That would probably be the best way. Just send me a DM, Facebook, follow me, do that, and I answer my messages. I answer them personally for now. Won't put that. I can't say I will always answer them personally, but for now I answer them personally, and just because that's been a big aspect for me recently. That's been a level of growth. I've actually in the past I pushed social away. Like, oh no, I didn't have to do much. I would do it every once in a while or when I felt good. But now like social has been a big thing, and it's escalated my business immensely. So I would recommend everybody be on social.
And your willingness to give back, and you've always been that kind of person to give back. Once you've arrived and received, you definitely share. So yeah. That's fantastic. Definitely recommend folks to get into contact with you if they're interested in getting into that world of real estate investment. Josiah Wilson, man, always appreciate the time.
Man, thank you, Jason. Appreciate you having me.